Historical background. It is an accepted belief that the Spanish colonization of the Philippines started in 1565 during the time of Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, the first Spanish governor-general in the Philippines. Literature started to flourish during his time. This part continued unabated until the Cavite Revolt in 1872. The Spaniards colonized the Philippines for more than 3 centuries. Ang Spanish colonization daw po sa Pilipinas ay nagsimula noong 1565 during the time of the first Spanish Governor-General in the Philippines named Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. This part daw po ay nag-continue ng walang tigil until the Cavite Revolt in 1872. During these times, many changes occurred in the lives of Filipinos. They embraced the Catholic religion, changed their names, and were baptized. Their lifestyle changed too. They built houses made of stones and bricks, used beautiful furniture like the piano, and used kitchen utensils. Carriages, trains, and boats were used as means of travels. They held fiestas to honor the saints, the Pope, and the governors. They had cockfights, horse races, and the theater as means of recreation. This gave rise to the formation of the different classes of society like the rich and the landlords. Some Filipinos finished courses like medicine, law, agriculture, and teaching. Many Filipinos finished their schooling already had been established. Spanish influences on Philippine literature. Due to the long period of colonization of the Philippines by the Spaniards, they have exerted a strong influence on our literature. Dahil daw po sa haba ng pag-colonize ng Spaniards sa Pilipinas, nagkaroon ng malalaking impluensya ito sa Philippines literature. First one is the Filipino alphabet called Alibata was replaced by the Roman alphabet. Second, the teaching of the Christian doctrine became the basis of religious practices. Third, the Spanish language, which became the literary language during this time, lent many of its words to our language. Fourth, European legends and traditions brought here became assimilated in our songs, corridos, and moro-moros. Fifth, ancient literature was collected and translated to Tagalog and other dialects. Sixth, many grammar books were printed in Filipino like Tagalog, Ilocano, and Visayan. And last, our periodicals during these times gained a religious tone.
The first book and the literary composition during the Spanish period.
Doctrina Christiana or Christian Doctrine was the first book printed in the Philippines 1593. It was printed using the process called xylography, imported from Spain. It was written by Father Juan de Plasencia and Father Domingo Nieva, written both in Spanish Tagalog. It contains 87 pages, and the 3 original copies were stored in Vatican, Madrid Museum, in the Library of U.S. Congress. It contains the basic catechetical teachings such as Pater Noster, Ave Maria, the 10 Commandments, Regina Caeli, 7 Mortal Sins, Apostle Creed, the Commandments of the Catholic Church.
Number 2. Nuestra Señora del Rosario, or Our Lady of the Rosary, was the second book printed in the Philippines written by Father Blancas de San Jose in 1602. It was printed at UST Press with the help of Juan Vera, a Chinese mestizo. It contains biographies of the saints, novenas, and question and answer about Roman Catholicism. Number 3. Libro de los Cuatro Primeras de Hombres, or the Book on the Forefathers of the Church, was the first book printed in typography. It contains the biography of the forefathers of the Catholic Church. Number 4. Barlaan at Josaphat, or Barlaan and Josaphat, was a biblical story printed in the Philippines translated into Tagalog by Father Antonio de Borja from the original Greek written by San Juan Damasceno. It is the first Tagalog novel published in the Philippines with 556 pages. Father Agustin Mejia translated it into the Ilocano versions. The Passion. This is the book about the life of suffering of the Jesus Christ. It is read only during Lent. There were 4 versions of this in Tagalog, and each version is according to the name of the writer. These are the Pilapil version by Mariano Pilapil of Bulacan, 1814. The de Belen version by Gaspar Aquino de Belen in 1704. The De la Mers by Anicito de la Mers of Narsagaray, Bulacan in 1856. And the De Guia version by Luis de Guia in 1750. Urbana at Felisa, or Urbana and Felisa, is a book written by Father Modesto de Castro, dubbed as the Father of Classic Tagalog Prose. It is a correspondence story between 2 sisters that has influenced greatly the behavior of people in society. It outlines how the good manners and the right conduct of individuals in their dealings with other people. Ang Mga Dalit kay Maria was a collection of songs praising the Virgin Mary written by Father Mariano Sibila in 1856. It was popularized and sung during Maytime Flores de Mayo. The literary composition. Number 1. Arte y Reglas de la Lengua Tagala, or Arts and Rules of the Tagalog Language, is a book written by Father Blancas de San Jose with the help of Fernando Bagong Banta, a Ladino and a Tagalog man of letters. Number 2. Vocabulario de la Lengua Tagala, or Vocabulary of Tagalog Language, was the first Tagalog dictionary written by Father Pedro San Buenaventura in 1613. Number 3. Compendio de la Lengua Tagala, a dictionary of the Tagalog language, was written by Father Gaspar de San Agustin in 1703. Number 4. Vocabulario de la Lengua Pampanga, or Vocabulary of the Kapampangan Language, was the first book in Kapampangan written by Father Diego in 1732. Number 5. Vocabulario de la Lengua Bisaya, or Vocabulary of the Visayan Language, was deemed as the best language book in Visayan by Mateo Sanchez in 1711. Number 6. Arte de la Lengua Ilocana, or Art of Ilocana Language, was the first Ilocano grammar book written by Father Francisco Lopez. Number 7. Arte de la Lengua Bicolana, or Art of Bicol Language, was the first book in Bicol language written by Father Marcos Lisbon in 1754.
Folk songs. Folk songs became widespread in the Philippines. Each region had its national song, from the lowlands to the mountains of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Folk songs truly manifest the artistic feelings of the Filipinos. They show the Filipinos' innate appreciation for and love of beauty. The examples are Leron-Leron Sinta, Pamolinawen, Dadansoy, Sarong Banggi, and Atin Kupong Singsing.
There are many recreational plays performed by Filipinos during the Spanish times. Almost of them were in a poetic form. There are examples. Bag. The word tibag means to excavate or maghukay. This ritual was brought here by the Spaniard to remind the people about the search of Saint Helena for the cross of which Jesus died. Lagaylay. This is a special occasion for the Pilarinos of Sorsogon during my time to get together. As early as April, the participating ladies are chosen and sometimes mothers volunteer their girls in order to fulfill a vow made during an illness for a favor received. In some part of Bicol, a different presentation is made but the objective is the same: praise, respect, and offering of the love to the blessed cross by Saint Helen on the mouth she had dug in. Nakolok. This is a dramatic performance to commemorate the passion and death of Jesus Christ. There are two kinds, the cantada and the hablada. In the hablada, the lines are spoken in more deliberate manner, showing the rhythmic measure of each verse and the rhyming in each stanza, and is more dignified in theme. While the cantada is chanted like the Passion. Nakolo is written in octosyllabic verse with the 8 verses to the stanza. The full-length versions take about 3 nights of staging. Performers come in costume with wigs and performers are carefully chosen for the virtuous life. One performs of role of Jesus Christ and another the role of the Virgin Mary. Many famous Sinakolo players come from the Tagalog versions, although there are also those from Ilocos, Pampanga, Bicol, and both Sibulanon and Hiligaynon. Panunuluyan. This is presented before 12 o'clock on Christmas Eve. This is a presentation of the Search of the Virgin Mary and Saint Joseph for an inn, wherein to deliver the baby Jesus.
And now, number 5, the sulubong or panubong. The sulubong is a Filipino word that translates to meeting, and the sulubong began during the Spanish time. It was originally called encuentro. The sulubong is an Easter play that dramatized the meeting of the risen Christ and his mother. It is still presented in many Philippine towns. Number 6, Carilo, shadow play. This is a form of dramatic entertainment performed on a moonless night during a town fiesta or on dark nights after a harvest. This shadow play is made by projecting cardboard figure before a lamp against a white sheet. The figures are moved like marionettes, whose dialogue are produced by some experts. The dialogues are drawn from a corridor or awit or some religious. Play interfers with songs. They are called by various names in different places. Carilo in Manila, Rizal and Batangas and Laguna. Tetris in Ilocos Norte, Pangasinan, Bataa. Capiz in Negros, Titiri in Zambales, Gagalo or Kikimot. In Pampanga and Tarlac, and Aliala in La Union. Next is the Zarzuela, considered the father of the drama. It is a musical comedy or melodrama, 3 acts which deal with man's passion and emotion like love, hate, revenge, cruelty, avarice, or some social or political problem. The difference between Zarzuela and opera. Opera is a theatrical work combining drama, music, song, and sometimes dance, while Zarzuela is a form of Spanish opera having spoken dialogue and usually a comic subject.
Salamat, salamat, huli ang buhay ko.
The Cynet. This was a short musical comedy popular during the 18th century. They were exaggerated comedies shown between acts of long plays and were mostly performed by characters from the lower classes. Themes were taken from everyday scenarios.
The Moro-Moro. The Moro-Moro is the play that became popular in the Philippines during Spanish period. It depicted battles between Christian and Moros, as a Muslim in the Philippines are popularly known with the Moro as spiritual villains who always lost to the Christian in the end. The plot is usually the same. The father organizes rescue party for his Christian daughter who is captured by the Mohammedans. The cause of the fighting between the Moors and the Christian ensue. The Mohammedans are defeated by some miracles. After this, the Mohammedans are converted to the Christianity. History of the Moro-Moro. The Moro-Moro dance is the earliest form of the theater performing in the Philippines, starting in 1650. It is a part of cultural routine when entertaining their visitor. The dance is a place based of two poems, the Awit and the Corrido, spread across the Philippines around 1610. It usually showed the struggle between the Christian and Moros as a Muslim. This one of the image how to play Maro in the stage. Next is Karagatan. This is a poetic vehicle of socio-religious nature celebrated during the death of a person. Karagatan is about the princess who dropped off her ring in the middle of the sea and who offered her hand in the marriage to anyone who can retrieve it. Our leader starts off with an extemporaneous poem announcing the purpose. He then spins a lumbo o tabo marked with a white line. Whoever comes in the direction of the white line when the spinning stops gets his return to go into the sea to look for the ring. This means a girl will ask him a riddle and he is able to answer. He will offer the ring to the girl. The third is Duplo. The Duplo replaced the Karagatan. This is a poetic use in speaking and reasoning. The rules are taken from the Bible and from Proverbs and saying it's usually played during wakes for the dead. The Duplo is poetic debate presented through songs and dance which originated from indigenous courtship customs. Poets use proverbs and the riddles to present their suit to the woman of their choice. The Duplo is poetic kind of a game. It is played at the backyard of the house. Usually, an old man or woman starts a game and there's a man or woman who dead. This is an example of image of Duplo. Balagtasan. This a poetic jokes or contest of skill in debate on a particular topic or issue. This replaced the Duplo and held is to honor Francisco Balagtas Baltasar. Balagtasan is a form of debate using poetic verse. The name of literary form itself to originate from Francisco Balagtas Baltasar, a hugely influential Filipino poetic from the late 1800 years. His work gradually matured over time. Balagtas' masterpiece, entitled Florante at Laura, is an epic written when he was imprisoned during the 19th century. Balagtasan is kind of argument between of two sides on a subject. There is a mediator called Lakandiwa if is a male and Lakambini if is a girl. There is also judge that decide which side we will win. The Balagtasan is sharpened by the expression of the side in poetic manner. Example, the subject of conflict. In the development of this town, what is the investment, diligence or talent, which is the more important? This is an image example of contest of Balagtasan.
The Dungaw. Dungaw expresses the lyric mode of death, the thought of which it congeals one's blood with chill anticipation, thrusts one into the blank depth of sorrow. It is the song of grief, sorrow, lamentation, and praise for the dead. The Dungaw is charged with deep emotion and is stamped with feeling of sympathy and love, of which arise directly from sheer personal sorrow with the singer of death. Dungaw may have felt while creating it extemporaneously. This is the example of Dungaw. The next one is Awit. Awit is in the decasyllabic are fabricated stories from writer's imagination, although the setting and characters are European. It refers to chanting. Example of Awit is Florante and Laura by Francisco Balagtas. The next one is Corrido. Corrido is in octosyllabic verse where usually on legends or stories from European countries like France, Spain, Italy, and Greece. It refers to narration. This is the example of Corrido, Ibong Adarna by Jose de la Cruz. For another information, the original title of Ibong Adarna is Corrido at buhay na pinagdaanan ng tatlong prinsipeng magkakapatid na anak ng Haring Fernando at Reyna Valeriana sa Kahariang Bourbania.